The trigeminocervical nucleus is a piece of your neuroanatomy and is made up of two parts. The first part is the trigeminal part. You have 12 cranial nerves and the fifth one is the trigeminal nerve. The trigeminal nerve transmits information from the face, mucosa, teeth. So the trigeminal nerve takes that information and it ends up in this lower part of the brainstem in the trigeminal nucleus. They found in the 90s, and this is one of the probably more undisputed parts of headache knowledge and headache physiology, is there's a cervical extension of that. There's a part of the trigeminal nucleus that also receives information from the top three segments of the neck, from C1, C2 and C3 spinal nerves. What that means is that there's information coming from really two different sources that converge in this trigeminocervical nucleus. And knowing what we know about referred pain, it's up to your brain to attribute where a noxious input is coming from and then to give you the sensation of, or the experience of pain in a location. Most of us would have experienced referred pain at one point or another during our lives where a problem is felt at a different location to where the problem actually is. Like a great example is with low back pain, when you can have a problem that is identified as being driven mainly by something in the back, but you feel it in a different place, whether it's in your leg or your bum or somewhere else. So in headache and in migraine, what happens is because of this convergence, and they call it the convergence theory because of this convergence, something that's actually a noxious input that's happening in the neck can be felt in the head instead, really in any part of the area that the trigeminal nerve serves. What's interesting about the trigeminocervical nucleus in migraine and in headaches is the way that it behaves a little bit differently. So what they've found is that in people that have migraine, the trigeminocervical nucleus is extra sensitive. It's almost like it's on a hair trigger, or closer to reaching a threshold for it to become more and to fire and to turn and trigger off a migraine. And it's not just in a migraine episode that it stays extra sensitive, it's also in between migraine episodes, which means that it's on a hair trigger all the time. So a migraine sufferer walking down the street without a migraine already has a trigeminocervical nucleus that is closer to the threshold than someone that isn't a migraine sufferer. And so that goes some way to explain why there are situations where there might be a factor that seems to trigger off a migraine fairly consistently, even things that seem completely unrelated, like a change in hormonal cycle, or a food, or drinking wine, or whatever the factor might be. It might seem totally unrelated, but it can just be enough of an input in some way to take the trigeminocervical nucleus sensitivity from this point to its threshold and then create a migraine episode. I think that also goes some way to explain why it seems like often headaches and migraine problems are very multifactorial, in that there can be not one clear thing that seems to trigger them off, but sometimes it is a cumulative effect of a number of things. And this is where the neck can be one of those factors. So if the threshold for a migraine happening has changed and it's actually become a little bit lower, so it's easier to trigger off a migraine, then the addition of different factors like hormonal cycle changes and a grumpy upper cervical spine, and then add onto that a situation of an extra stressor in someone's life, then that cumulative effect can be the thing that's just enough to bring them to the threshold, whereas in someone else, that might not even take them close to reaching a threshold for them developing a headache or a migraine. So the trigeminocervical sensitivity is one of the things that's really key in understanding headache and understanding migraine.
Hey, thanks for watching our video. If you liked it, we would love it if you would hit the thumbs up button below. It lets YouTube know that we know what we're talking about and that we're helping people. If you like the style of our videos and you'd like to see more of them and know when a new one is published, then just hit the subscribe button. And if you've got any thoughts or comments or questions, please add them below, because we answer all of them, and we love to hear comments because it helps us to shape the channel and find out what people want to know. It helps it to become as relevant as possible for everyone. So thank you.